Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Here we are, November 12th, 2024. Welcome to this morning's pre-market prep session. Even though it's a little bit later than usual, we're still getting after it. I'm your host, Adam Holland, stock options expert market strategist, and we are here going over this morning's important news, notes, and trade ideas, as well as mindset, right? We're at a point now in markets where we have been for really the past 2 months where mindset is so important. Having these little insider tips are so important, right? We have had absolutely banger trades with huge returns on Visa, Bill, PLTR, right? All these different names that people really have no idea about and aren't really household names. Palantir may be getting a little bit more, a little bit more looks, but Zoom, right, really just hammering home wins on a number of different names in all of these different sectors. And also MicroStrategy, right, MSTR with Bitcoin booming, which is something that we talked about here over a month ago about how it was getting ready to fire. We took position, and now that is paying us very well. So being here and getting these little bits of advice are very important, especially because where we are around all-time highs is always a very like mindset heavy space where it's like there's gonna be a lot going on. There are a lot of things that are paying. There's gonna be a lot of FOMO. Everyone feels like they're missing everything. Everyone feels like millions are slipping through their fingers. Number one, the majority of people, you don't have the money or aren't willing to commit that money to market positions in order to make the millions that are being made currently, right? If you're playing around with two contracts, three contracts at a time. Yes, you can have big returns, but overall, there's nothing that's going to like completely wipe out your student debt or anything all at once, right? There's nothing that's going to completely solve all of your problems. You just want to be correctly positioned and emotionally managed so that it's when it's time for you to make moves, you can make those moves, right? But this is where they really, really, really get you. And any trader or investor who is, um, who's worth their weight, right, is sitting back and letting everyone go crazy in the euphoria. Right. This is the time where you sit back and you let all the little ants, right, all the little mice, they're running, they're scrambling, they're in this high anxiety state, this fight or flight state, and you sit back, right? You take profit on your long positions and you look to see what the market does next. Right. It's very important to recognize that we've got what 2.5 months before Trump takes office, right? We have all these different things that will happen before then. We all know, traditionally, historically, how markets move based off of when you first start easing, right? Cutting interest rates. We know that there is a possibility that we take a significant dip, right? A probability more so than a possibility, and that dip continues. You don't want to be the person that's caught holding the bag, right? You really, really, really don't. If you think it sucks sitting out and if you are someone who's missed because there are a lot of amazing plays, home runs that we've been a part of, but you might not have been in, I don't know, Tesla when it gapped up. You might not have been in Nvidia as it's gone up. Maybe you are in Apple and Apple hasn't been doing anything. You're like, man, I'm missing out. Like I'd rather miss out than take all of my buying power, show up to the party late, have no game plan, and just get absolutely washed. Right, get absolutely washed. That is the biggest thing. Capital preservation in markets is very important. So that's where we're at, right? When we talk about mindset, right now it's sitting back and being wise, right? What does Warren Buffett say? The old Oracle of Omaha. Be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful. What are people right now? Greedy, right? Immensely greedy, immensely greedy. So, what should you be doing for the most part? Sitting back, watching for reversals, getting a gauge on where the market is, and then being proactively positioned, just like we were for the news that we got with the Trump victory, right? Whether or not you supported him, this is something that I've been talking about all year. He's likely to win. So, you had the insight way before you had the event, right? That prediction ends up being correct. So if I'm steering you in the right way, continue to bear with me, right? Continue to bear with me, and remain patient, and let's execute when it's time to execute. But going over our top news here, going green. We're talking COP29. Here we go, the dog and pony show about everybody's going to save the world. And as always, by the way, with this session, we're here to get 1% better. So make sure you throw those ones in the chat, signifying your intention to get 1% better by the end of this session. And then we can do it and close the gap, right? Close the gap between where we are and where we're destined to be. Now, the latest round of UN climate talks, known as COP29, is getting underway this week in Azerbaijan. Don't even know if that's a real place. Ironically, the country is one of the top 10 most fossil fuel dependent economies in the world, with oil and gas making up 90% of its export revenue and 60% of its finances. Even more ironically, the largest share of Azerbaijani fossil fuel exports goes to the European Union via pipelines that run to Greece, Albania, and Italy. Southern gas corridor, while those levels have been increasing in recent years due to Russia's war in Ukraine. Quote, we are on a road to ruin, COP29 President Mukhtar Babayev said in his opening remarks. Quote, these are not future problems. Climate change is already here. The top priority is to agree to fair and ambitious, quote, new collective quantified goals on climate finance. In line with those objectives, progress was made on an Article 6 of the 2015 Paris Agreement. Delegates approved new standards for a global carbon market that would allow richer countries to buy the emissions of poorer countries by investing in their clean energy projects or carbon capturing forests. However, despite commitments made in the past, greenhouse gas emissions have continued to reach record highs, while increasing temperatures, a loss of biodiversity, and extreme weather events are said to be growing in intensity. Not helping the situation are questions of fairness and trust, as well as accountability and enforcement mechanisms. Notable world leaders were also absent from the summit, including President Biden and China's Xi Jinping, along with the heads of India, Brazil, France, Germany, and the European Union. Investing angle during his last term in office, Donald Trump withdrew the U.S. from the Paris Agreement, and the president-elect is likely to do so again. Interestingly, oil and gas stocks have performed much better under Biden than Trump, while clean energy shares boomed under the latter. The movement can highlight the actual dynamics of the economy, along with supply and demand levels, profits, and prices. See, these are little mindset nuggets that it's important for you to tune into, right? And the thing is, there are a lot of variables that go into pricing and the price action behind these clean energy companies and the traditional oil and gas companies. There's a lot that goes into a lot of geopolitical variables that go into the price of oil and gas and oil production. um, Biden, a lot of why he was pushed into more oil production was because of where we were, like economy wise. So you kind of have to take these things with a grain of salt. And that doesn't mean that necessarily oil and gas will continue to have been bigger under Biden than it will be under Trump's next term. That's just little important caveats to understand. Now, let's see. In terms of today's markets in Asia, Japan down 0.4%, Hong Kong down 2.8, China down 1.4, India down 1%, London down 1%, Paris down 1.3, Frankfurt down 0.9, the Dow down 0.1, S&P down 0.2, Nasdaq down 0.2. Crude oil up 0.8%, gold down 0.5, Bitcoin up 6.5% to 87,569. Bitcoin moving right in expectations of what we thought. 2 p.m. we've got Kashkari speaking. We know how he goes. Many times when he speaks, it doesn't matter. Every once in a while, though, he absolutely wrecks markets. So be aware, set, a little reminder with your trusty voice assistant that he's speaking at 2 p.m. and let's be ready for that, right? Let's be ready for that. And if we see volatility around then, we know exactly what it's from. Now, what else is happening? We'll wrap it up here with our, beautiful stock news rundown, rapid fire stock news rundown, and go from there. So to the moon, Bitcoin nears 90K. Spot ETFs see record inflows. Boeing, ticker BA, appoints new head of quality for commercial planes. 23andMe, ticker Me, cuts workforce by 40%. Ends therapeutics program. Hard landing. Spirit Airlines, ticker saved. Flight struck by gunfire in Haiti. Gold sinks the most in over 3 years as Trump win Royals markets. Needham, chips act likely safe as White House changes hands. Chipotle, ticker CMG, names Chief Boatwright as new CEO. And then Tesla extends post-election rally. Wedbush boosts price target. North Korea and Russia ratify defense treaty after troops sent to Kursk. So I guess North Korea and Russia now have a defense treaty and they're locked in together. Not the news that you want to end on, but hey, regardless of who's locked in with what and where, we're locked in together. And we'll make sure that we continue to get 1% better each and every day, right? Leveling up, closing the gap, and putting our best foot forward, right? So it's been an awesome and profitable past few weeks. We took the time to plant some amazing seeds, and those seeds have come back and harvested and led to a great harvest for us in a big way. Had some beautiful big wins last week. I mean, you talk about Upstart, right? that 1,000% profit play potential and upstart gapping up, taking home that 400% off the earnings play, up to 1,000%. Like there are things that are hitting all over the place. You'll never be able to be in all of them, right? But you just want to make sure that you're managing yourself, managing risk, and sticking to the game plan. Whether that means taking a little bit more risk or taking a little bit less risk, right? Get in line with that game plan. It's set up and drafted for you to succeed. So let's make sure that we put the work behind it to do exactly that. All right, everybody. I'll see you back here tomorrow morning for our next pre-market prep session. Have a good one.